Hello and welcome back to my channel, Designs by Dana. I'm Dana and I'm also close to my heart consultant. And today I'm working on a coast to coast CTMH maker collaboration video. This is a group of consultants that joined together for a collaboration hop, and it is now open to not only makers but anybody that would like to join along with us. We do a monthly video on the third Thursday of every month, and we base our videos on the Story by Stacy deck. And this is the cards that we're working off of for this month. So let me just do a refresher for this month. Our Ready card is Special Days. Our Set card was Inspiration. Go is New Products. And the bonus is to repurpose. So I thought that was going to be a bit of a challenge for me to do new products, something never used, experiment, new to you, something different and fresh from the package, and also to repurpose something. So that's what I'm working on. And I'm also going to do a kill two birds with one stone. And I'm going to also incorporate a sketch from Christy's Beautiful Life 30-day series for this month. And I'm jumping ahead to day 24. This sketch was created by Jen Miller. This is a really fun sketch. I always love sketches with circles. I don't know why I'm drawn to those, but I am. So this is fun for me. But what I'm going to do with this one, I'm going to do something a little different. I'm going to size it down to an 8.5 by 11. So let me bring in my photos. These are photos for an album I have been working on for a while now. And these are hearts that are done in Kansas City through the Parade of Hearts. And they've put these out, designed by several different local artists. And then residents, visitors get to go heart hunting and find all the different hearts placed throughout the city and surrounding areas and find the different hearts. You can learn about the artist, take pictures and everything. So it's a real fun event. So this is from last year's Parade of Hearts that I'm just now getting around to scrapbooking. And here you can see my friend Karen popping out from behind the heart there, and some of my friends here. So this is what I'm going to work on. I'm going to pull out an old paper packet called Isabella that has lots of the lemons and flowers and stems on it. And that's going to be something I'm going to repurpose. And so I'm going to get this out of the way and pull in my supplies and we'll get started. Okay, I'm pulling in my paper here, and I am using a variety of papers. The majority of paper I'm using is the Isabella paper packet. I'm using for my base sheet a piece of paper from a Mixin. It's kind of a lemonade polka dot. And then I'm also using a Capri zip strip that I pulled out from another paper packet that I found. So let me get this dry fit out here for you, and you can see how this is going to come together. And I wanted to pull in that circle element from the sketch, and I have these dimensional element pieces that I've saved, and they're perfect for tracing. So I'm going to bring in my journaling pen, and I always like to try it on scratch paper before I start. And I'm going to trace that piece, I think 2 or 3 times. And I just slightly move it around as I trace each time. And that gives me a nice little grounding piece, I guess, for the base of my layout. Now in the sketch, there were 2 circles, but because I've scaled this down to an 8.5 by 11, I'm only going to do 1 circle. Now I'm also pulling in some stamped images that I pre-colored in. These I forgot to bring in the stamp set to show you, but they are from the Isabella scrapbooking stamp set in thin cut. So I wanted to make sure I pointed that out. And then there's a little sticker piece as well. So I incorporated my repurposing, and I realized I almost forgot to add a new product in for my challenge. So I pulled out the brand new Sprigs and Leaves thin cut and stencil. And this is actually the first time I've gotten to use it. So I cut a set of those out with the charcoal cardstock, and then I inked that up. So I used the light side of the cardstock and then inked it up with the charcoal ink. And I really like how that turned out because I really was torn on what color of paper to use. So I want to show you how I colored in my elements. I know a lot of people struggle with using the markers and their coloring techniques. So I've zoomed in quite a bit here. And the markers that I'm using for this particular item are the Prismacolor Premier markers. And unlike our normal tri-blend markers, they are just one color per marker, but you notice I put that first color of the yellow down and it looks really, really bright. But as I add my other layers of color, so I'm bringing in another kind of oranger color of yellow here, and then I'm going to bring in my original yellow and blend that out. And as I add in my layers of yellow, you'll notice that that original layer of yellow starts to look a lot lighter. And I'm just going to keep blending that out and adding additional layer. And then you'll see that I have my nice little highlighted section right there, kind of where the lemon would kind of be rounded and the most sun would hit that kind of highlight. So it's really amazing how one layer looks really bright, but as you add more and more, darker layers, you get that highlighted effect. So now I'm going to bring in another green for my leaves, and you'll notice I always start by outlining everything in, just as I was taught to color. Start with your outline and then color everything in. And these markers are really great for layering in your color. So instead of needing the three, light, medium, and dark, you can just add multiple layers on layer. And again, this looks like a really dark green, but as I continue to add more layers, it will look lighter in the highlighted sections. And you'll notice I'm adding a lot of color up around the flower because that's where there's going to be the most shade, the most shaded areas. So I want that to be dark around the flower, and then in the middle where the spine or the vine of the leaf would be. So coming up and then finishing out this next leaf, I'm kind of doing the same thing, giving it kind of a base coat, if you will, and then adding some shading in around the flower where I think it's going to be the darkest because the least sun is going to hit up under those petals. And then I'm just flicking color out down that middle vein of the leaf. And then I'm going to come in around the edge and kind of flick it inward. It's kind of hard to tell. I'm doing a real flicking motion here. I'm just flicking it out and then flicking it back in towards the vein. And you get that nice highlighted section. And I'm going to come back down here and just add a little bit more dimension and depth to that bottom leaf. Now for the white flower, I realized on my layout, I brought in the sticker and I didn't like how it was too different from the other flower. So for consistency, I just cut one of these flowers apart and I'm going to use it instead. So even though it's a white flower, one thing I've learned in my artistic journey is sometimes white things aren't always white. So I draw a lot of dogs in graphite, and white dogs are really hard to draw. But one of the things that I've learned is that even though they're white, they're not always white. So this is a white flower, but I'm bringing in a warm gray marker and I'm using that to add some of the highlights. And I think this really adds a beautiful touch to the white flower. And this is kind of mimicked from the flower in the paper as well. And so this really kind of makes the flower pop, I think. So I'm just, again, following the artistic highlights and lines that the stamp set already has for me and just adding in that little bit of color. And it really makes the white flower pop. So that's going to finish out the coloring. And then I'm going to hold these up for you and let you see a little bit closer look for that. And then we'll go back and finish out the layout. You can see that nice highlight in there. So I swapped out that flower for the sticker and put the sticker right back on my sticker sheet. And as one final touch for the layout, I brought in my enamel dots, and I'm using the teal color Z4630. And these come in heart shapes, circle shapes, star shapes. So I'm just doing a mixture and adding those to my little clusters because I wanted to bring in a little bit more of that blue color and putting those on, and that's going to wrap up this layout. Okay, so we finished that off. I'm really glad that I replaced that flower. I think this one looks a little bit more cohesive with the rest of the page, and I'm much happier with that. So let's take a couple reviews here. So let's review our cards first. So my inspiration definitely came from a sculpture with these hearts that were placed all over the city. Special days, my friend visiting from out of town and getting to go and do this heart hunting excursion. New products, I almost missed this one, but I ended up pulling in these sprigs, thin cuts, and stencils. So I pulled that in, and I'm really happy with that. I kind of struggled with what color to use because the greens are all over the place with this. So slightly different green in my markers than here, than over here on the pattern paper, but I think they all kind of tie together well. So then my repurposing, obviously a very old paper pack, which I just about have this one killed as well. So I'm getting a lot of my old paper packets used up this month. I'm so happy about that. And then of course repurposing, well, I was thinking some of the stickers on that sheet, but I ended up not really using the stickers. So just really that paper packet. So I think I accomplished all of those. I'm happy about that. Now let's pull in our sketch and do a quick compare. So I kind of held true to the corner strips here, and I did put the circle in because I love circles. I'm kind of tied to that. I only did one because I shrunk everything down to the 8.5 by 11. My photos are very similar, but I did change the orientation a little bit. So I held somewhat true to the sketch, but still made it my own, and I'm pretty happy with that. Let me hold it up just a little bit closer for you to see some of the dimension. Of course, I popped a lot of things up, some thin foam tape and some thick foam tape, glued down my sprigs so you can see that there's some dimension there. I did bring in the capri dots because I felt like I needed just a little bit more blue pulled in to tie everything together. So there we have it. Hope you like that, and I hope you enjoy my coloring tutorials. That takes practice, so if you struggle with that a little bit, just don't give up. Keep practicing. Try different markers and color combinations as well, and it will come. Don't fret with that. And so if you like it, please hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and you can hit the notification bells if you'd like to get notifications when I do post. This is a special video because it's only done monthly, but I will continue to post throughout the month to get through the 30-day sketches as well. Thanks so much for watching today, and we'll see you soon.